our Dean of Health Science, Mr. Dr. Bishwajit Mondol. I am really very privileged that they have given me this kind of opportunity to moderate this particular event. Then I would like to welcome to all the HODs of the respective domains in our institute, and my seniors, my colleagues, my students, and to all other participants who are present here. Now I request to our Dean of Health Science, Dr. Bishwajit Mondol, to share some of his words. Please, sir, carry on. Please carry on.
Yeah, thank you.
Our Dean of Health Science, Mr. Bishwajit,
thank you,
Mr. Dr. Bishwajit Mondol.
Good afternoon, everybody.
I am really very privileged
Honorable
that
Chairman,
they have given me this kind
Vice
of
Chairman,
opportunity
Madam,
to moderate
Campus
this particular
Director,
event.
Principals and TICs of
Then
Education,
I would
Polytechnic,
like to
Management,
welcome to
and
all the
distinguished guest,
HODs
Professor
of the
Dr.
respective domains in
Shomi
our institute.
My dear
And,
colleagues and my dear
my
students,
seniors, my colleagues,
it's a great
my
opportunity
students,
for the
and
young
all
student to
other
listen to
participants
Professor
who
Dr.
are
Shomi
present here.
Gangopadhyay about health crisis
Now
of
I
this
request
century
to our
and
Dean
our retrospective
of
journey.
Health Science,
I'm sure
Dr.
that
Bishwajit
this
Mondol,
webinar will be adding
to
value
share
to
some
the
of his
students to
words.
understand the respective
Please, sir,
your
carry on.
fields. And I wish to have many more sessions like this in future. And I believe all of you have the right potential to do the best in your field. And I'm confident that you all will succeed in all your future endeavor. And all the best. Let us not waste our time by talking much on different topics. Rather than let us welcome. Once again, I'd like to welcome our distinguished guest, Professor Dr. Shomi Gangopadhyay. And today it is Vice Chairman, Madam, your desk, sir. So please do carry on with your speech, with your session, and let's all we will be enjoying your session. So thank you very much. Thank you, my dear colleagues. And
thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
It's a great opportunity.
Before Dr. Gangopadhyay would be starting his speech, I would like to mention some points. That is, I would like to request to every participant who are present here that while the session would be continuing, just note down your questions. If you will have any question, just note down your question on Samha. That after completion of the session, we will have a question answer round so that you can easily ask your question to sir. Okay, so I would request to Dr. Gangopadhyay, please start his valuable session. Sir, welcome first of all.
Let us not waste our time by talking much on different topics. Rather than let us welcome. Once again, I'd like to welcome our distinguished guest, Professor Dr. Shomi Gangopadhyay. And today it is,
can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
So please,
you are fully audible. Yes, sir.
Speech with your session.
Share my screen.
Let's all we will be enjoying.
And if I put my camera off, will it be
Thank you,
okay?
sir. Thank you very much. Okay, sir. No issue. Dr. Gangopadhyay would be starting his speech. I would like to
It's taking time to present, share my screen.
I would like to request to every participant who are present here that while the session would be continuing, just note down your questions. If you will have any question, just note down your question on Samha. That after completion of the session, we will have a question answer round so that you can. I would request to everyone that please switch off your mic so that it will not interrupt our session. Sir, welcome first of all.
Let us not waste our time by talking much on different topics. Let us welcome. Once again, I'd like to welcome our distinguished guest, Professor.
And obviously, Professor Nandini, Professor Biswajit, and at the same time, all the other faculty members to give me such an opportunity to talk before Professor Nandini in this August gathering. Biswajit, My topic is today about the health crisis of this century, and I'll be talking mostly about the retrospective journey with a touch to the current crisis. As far as my knowledge is concerned, already I have talked that me by name. My name is Dr. Shoumik Gangobadhyay. So you must not be aware that at what capacity I'm talking over here. So I'll give you a brief introduction about that. I have done my bachelor in pharmacy, then MBA in marketing, MBA in hospital and health system management from BITS Pilani, and then I have done my PhD from West Bengal State University. I'm working in the field for near about 8.5 years. I presented my research article at different locations, both nationally and internationally. Internationally, I have also got reward twice, once at Bangkok conference and at Sri Lanka based Colombo conference. So in several sessions, mostly I was talking about marketing related issues, and whereas this particular current crisis, rather a disaster that we are facing now, is really paining me a lot. So with due respect to the warriors, and obviously with the respect to the warriors who have lost their life, so I have kept my fast, so to show my respect to them and to the soul that who has departed. So I have kept this slide blank. Also the teachers and the bankers, the other clinicians, the paramedical staff who has lost their lives during this crisis only to serve the humanity, I also do respect them, and that's why I have left my first slide blank. Let us go back in 1720 when the Great Plague, which was also known as nothing but a black fever, came into this particular world, and it has turned it has left a lasting impression in the mind of people, among people. But it was not the first one, and it was not the last one. It was being repeated almost in every 100 years. In 1820, the cholera came. In 1920, the Spanish flu came, and in 2020, the coronavirus, the effect of which still even is persisting with us, and we are actually facing this devastating crisis. It is a myth that in every 100 years a disease comes to disturb us. It is rather our poor preparation, our poor mindset, our improper preparations that really always force us to suffer. You look at why I'm saying so. You look at the particular statistics in 1918, the deaths were 50 million. In 1950, it was being observed that smallpox was a disturbing element, and more than 50% mortalities were being experienced by different communities. 1881, it was the fifth cholera pandemic, which was present and visible globally. More than 1.5 million deaths, 9.7 per 10,000 were really a disturbing concern for every human being. 1918, it was Spanish flu, almost with an equal number of deaths, but with a less incidence rates, really was also a matter of concern. 1957, it was followed by Asian flu influenza pandemic. 1968 by Hong Kong flu. 1981 by HIV and AIDS, really whose existence is still visible, but obviously it is now pandemic. The incidence rate has decreased a lot. 2003, it was SARS pandemic. 4 countries and 37 nations that has experienced the devastating outcome of this disease. 2009, it was a time for swine flu influenza pandemic. Still I can recall in 2011 when I was at Bangkok airport, I landed there, then I found that there is a mysterious light is revolving around us, and then on inquiry it was being told us that it is that particular light which is trying to detect that whether the Rather, the siren was on, but we have not heard about that. COVID-19 through bats and by other animal hosts, it came in India in 2019 in the wet market of Wuhan, when this particular virus it started its journey, rather either produced. And when we were talking about the speculative therapies of Chinese conspiracy behind this, then obviously we find that the origin is there. But today, when you talk about the other strains, the contribution of other few worlds obviously is absolutely relevant. Avian influenza, which came from wild birds and started amplifying through poultry farms, swine flu, which came by pigs, its amplifying host is yet to be identified, but it was also geographically impacting the entire global existence of the human beings. And approximately in the year 2009, it came to disturb us. Today, if we talk about India, there are many more theories that have been evolved by several clinicians, politicians, and according to their particular interest, they have germinated or they have twisted the truth from different perspectives. But look at the countries and their populations, and we find that India is obviously still in a better position, although the last few weeks data has actually given more contribution to these numbers. Although it was Belgium where we found that 214 deaths were found among near about per 1 lakh population. In case of Italy, which registered 204 per 1 lakh death, India has registered up to 10th of May only 18.01 per lakh death. So which is nothing but also shows that we were not prepared, but the journey continues and we are giving an encouraging fright. Hats up to all the doctors, clinicians, paramedical staff, and obviously the scientists, ICMR, those who are really working hard. And it is irrespective of the territories. I think all over the India the fight is on. And why we are talking about this disease? Because poor health always has a price to pay. We have seen that loss of labor, productivity, and is one of the main concerns. Suppose you are traveling by a boat and there is a hole at the other corner. We cannot claim that I am safe. Obviously, we have to remember these things, that if unless Corona stays at the remote village of Africa, we are threatened, because microorganisms cannot travel, can travel without a passport or visa. And obviously, the country wherever the health or any virus attack is compromised, the GDP is obviously going to get affected. It is obviously to take care about our future generations that it must not leave a lifelong impression in the mind or in the health or in the body or in the gene structure of people. Obviously, why it is a risk? Because there is no more. Why it is an uncertainty? Because there is no alternative, probability, or consequence. We cannot count them so easily, and there is no solution. Rather. So obviously, this risk we need to deal with by balancing many factors. And obviously, health is always wealth. So now onwards, I think government, individuals, so are both from subjective perspective and from objective orientation. Now all the governments now are going to take care about this issue as a very important issue. And if we talk about the economic losses, which is mammoth, which are going to leave a lasting impressions. While people are talking about COVID-19 as a negative issue, I also find some positive things behind that. And if we until 2019, we people were talking about the life before Google or after Google. Today we are talking about that life before Corona or after Corona. And after Corona, what do I find? That COVID-19 is positive. This is a data of 2018, which is visible before us. And I do not find a single healthcare or healthcare related brand or a paramedical brand or paramedically associated brand is present here. But if we talk about each and every brand present here, everywhere we were talking for the last 15 to 20 years about health, either in the form of a diet or in the form of a low cholesterol or in the form of a low salt. So health was indirectly attached. Please start thinking from now onwards that once corona leaves us or corona dissipates, then we can find that there will be a health brand or health related brand. I mean to say that because of people's fear mongering, fear psychosis, we are going to witness that. We have also seen in the list of, we have not seen any brand in the year in the list of world's largest public companies that was registered by 2018. But obviously it was talking about every other sector. Even if we talk about the food and beverage industry or even about the pharmaceutical industry, we do not find that they have overreached any other issues. And electronic goods, and obviously was always being taken as a priority by people. Tomorrow everything is going to change and it will be health in all formats. So WHO in the years 1978, they have declared a payoff line that health for all by 2080. Maybe today we are talking about that vaccine for all by 2022. Look at this particular industry which has evolved and emerged, and these industries do have huge potentiality, and this will exist for the next 50 years before the next pandemic comes, when we don't know. So that is one of the biggest motivation for these industries to grow. Look at this PPT manufacturing units. Look at their potentialities. Almost it is going to be almost 10 lakh masks and PPT kits are being produced on every day near about. Look at this oximeter industry, where it was only before 1.5 years back, its existence was absolutely on the verge of extinct. Look at this particular product which is known as sanitizer, when last year people were suffering from the scarcity of sanitizer. The locality of Jharkhand, they have prepared these from the local mohua. We have seen the surge of disinfection tunnel, although its scientific validity is now dissipating. So now we don't find them. Last year there were some four-wheeler manufacturing company who were really got interested about the manufacture of ventilators, and I think it is going to happen. We have to also look at certain new products, and obviously I don't want to name somebody, but here I have to just name something that is really showing a new trend, a new pattern, and obviously some positivity. Pharmaceutical industry is now on at its peak, and we find that there are vitamin C and zinc combinations, or whereas certain mouth spray from Zydus Cadila that is going to protect you. So there are certain enzyme-based formulas that are going to protect people, and as far as the fear psychosis stays in the mind, so obviously it will also stay in the heart of people. Look at the current trend. Health is the new electricity and digital is the new oil. So this is really, it is showing a change. COVID-19 and potential economic channels really have affected either directly or indirectly into many sectors. I would like to highlight some sectors like health sectors, where we find that there is a huge gap of demand and supply. So we can find that lot many beds will be included, or hospitals will now work as a satellite centers. Hospitals will be also having certain satellite centers at different localities, and it will be absolutely being permitted by government of India. If we look at the new trend of education, where we find that the online education is absolutely on surge, let us see that how much they have influenced. Obviously, I also would like to draw your attention towards this trade and transport, which is really getting intervened. But I am positive about that is going to also recuperate very soon. Opportunities are shifting, so that is the moral of the story. There are certain information and statistics, as it is being cited by Gypsy, in just within 1 month of the introduction introduction of this disease among people. 31% of 3% online meeting increase have been observed. 4% online banking has increased. 73% people interested about live aarti. 32% were interested about online grocery and sanitization possibilities. Really, it was an effect of grandism, or if it was an effect of OCD. I'll explain what is OCD. Hand wash is being increased at the rate of 3,460%. So you can find that what kind of things are there. In normal education, 220% increase because everything got shifted. Whether school education, college education, everything got transformed from offline to online. 108% benefit have been observed in all those certificate courses, and 25% free short-term courses also have been opted by people. So here we have to consider something called health initiatives. So what we have to do about wishful thinking and thinking about that what can change, how can change is need to be considered. We are bound to observe that there are certain demographic patterns is going to change. People will surely start migrating from the western part of the eastern part, or from the southern part of the eastern part very soon, or from the northern part to the eastern part, because the effect of this particular disease is comparatively poor at the eastern part of the country. So which is nothing but a very encouraging sign, but at the same time also the average age of people are now going to fall. So it is also an important observation. So that means the average age of Indians are bound to fall. There will be a change in perceived value of hygiene, and obviously people will be more interested about obsessive compulsive disorder. So just visualizing that whether they will be in a fear mongering state. So they will be keep on thinking that virus still exists with them, and for that they will purchase many such products. So we are going to observe certain impulsive spenders, and that will be observed in pharmaceutical field. So it is going to obviously increase by leaps and bounds. There we have seen that there are so many NGOs and many other individual efforts have already been given. So we are bound to observe that there will be a ethical thinking which is about to increase. We can see that there are people are now talking about not about only about hum do or hamara do. They have started talking about hum log or hamare flat mein kya ho raha hai. So which is nothing but a new family structure is about to emerge, that is joint nuclear family. The health insurance are now increasing day by day, which is also a very energetic trend, and that will also put us into a new trajectory. Rather, there will be a new saving patterns, that is mutual fund is already being observed, and people are going to give priority health as a first issue, not entertainment as a first issue that we have seen until 2019. So value of life is going to change. As I have already mentioned, that people are now giving preference from physical to digital. And obviously, that's why matrimonial sites even are now also increasing like anything. Very recently, I have seen in media that for IIT and IIM graduates, new matrimonial sites have been introduced, and it is also showing very energetic trend of growth. The social well-being will now also be viewed or visualized or assessed from a different angle. Maybe before marriage, people will not go for thalassemia checking; they will go for corona checking. But we have to remember that united we stand, divided we fall. Let us now discuss, as the theme of today's talk is concerned, what is the nexus between the disease and crime. Is it something new? No. Biodisaster and bioterrorism is having its present since long, and history are having several evidences. A deliberate release of bacteria and virus were being done in many cases, and it was being done at the platform of words. And because it can be spread through air, through water, or through food, food and without having an evidence. So that is obviously also being used by many terrorist organizations which are having enough evidences. The problem is that this is a best weapon because it is having high morbidity and obviously it is having the potential to create highest mortality. Potential for person to person spread, low infective dose and highly infectious by aerosols. Even the lack of rapid diagnostic capability in case of corona, we have seen either the kit is not there or either the facilities are not there or centers are not there. The lack of universally available effective vaccines also is a problem for that, what we are experiencing currently. Potential to cause anxiety and it is availability of these pathogens and the feasibility of their production is also a very important juncture that need to be assessed further. The environmental stability and database of prior research and development which is not present, so obviously that also gives or creates a constructive opportunity for all this. It is also a very potential because it can be weaponized and the perpetrators can escape very easily. Is bioterrorism something new? No. Use of bioterrorism tactics is being evidenced in 14th century by Mughal army and which was dated back in 1346 for the first time in India. 1485, even the Napoleon's army were also being attacked by these and the Spanish supplied their French enemies with wine that was laced with leprosy patients' blood. Think about remember, it reminds me about the Battle of Toronto, Italy in 1155 when the Barbossa put human corpses in his enemy's water supply, successfully contaminating it. Also, the Pizarro's conquest of South American 15th century, where we have seen that a simple smallpox virus was being used as an instrument or an weapon, and really it was nothing but a game-changing factor. The biological warfare, U.S. Civil War also being observed, and W.T. Sherman's memories, which really contains accounts of invading forces that often were slaughtering the animals and dumped the rotting carcasses into the water wells. Even the Romans also have used this to foul the water supply of their enemies. During the First World War, we have seen that the field of microbiological development have propelled this kind of activities. And during the war, most biological attacks were directed by animals using anthrax and glanders, because in those days, animals were nothing but used as one of the best weapons, as a vehicle of transportation also. You can see that how it was being used and then how they were being protected. So not only the animal but also the driver need to be protected against these particular gases, poisonous gases. Germany, obviously they have aimed with their ambitious project, and obviously they have attacked Romanian troops, Italian troops, France, Russia and Mesopotamia. Also the anthrax is used to infect the food animals and glanders to infect the horses used by cavalry. And there was also a team which became popular, which is now unknown today, that is known as nothing but the infamous Dawn of Cossacks. The anthrax, which I am retiring every time because it is often considered a good biological agent because of its stability for decades in spores forms and ease of production. These are the evidences where you can find that what is the effect of that and how actually it destroys the enemies without doing anything. Biological warfare begins in 1913 Japan also, when the particular leader or these particular war leaders obviously who started considering this as one of the best weapons. Biological warfare devastations were being found by the Act of Great Britain in 1942 when the anthrax obviously were being poisonous medicines or this particular organisms were being used for these purposes. We have also found this biological warfare in 1984 when the religious guru Rajneeshi, he has used this salmonella, and it was being done in a very careful way so that it can mix with the invitees' food, and they are bound to suffer certain problems. It was also being done in case of the anthrax were also being done, and after 9/11 attack, obviously this scare was maximum. Even it has been observed that there were 22 cases of anthrax were being found out, and out of them 11 of them inhaled a particular letter, and among them 5 died. This is one of the evidence that I am presenting here. This is the letter that was sent to NBC anchor Tom Brocky with cutaneous anthrax, and where he found that this is the letter which was being opened by him, and obviously it was suspicious, and obviously he was forced to follow an unnatural and immature death. Even during World War II also, the US and British government scientists, they studied this anthrax and prepared this for as a biological weapon, although it was minuscule and it was not being used in a larger scale. Soviet Union also in the late 1980s, they stored the hundreds of tons of anthrax spores for potential use as a bioweapon. Even certain other experiences have been observed by several other territories, like in Tokyo, or even when there was an unintentional release of the spores have been found in the atmosphere of Soviet Union, and obviously it was controlled later. In September 2001, there was certain other US portal system who also delivered anthrax, and these bioweapon exercises or using them as an weapon of war is absolutely being visible. This is the current study that I'm presenting here, collected from a doctor of CNC Veller very recently, who mentioned that currently working on superbug, on cancer genes, there are people, and also on cold viruses. So once people catch the spore, they would give you a fatal cancer. So it is need to be also considered. Why people are considering this as most effective and cheap? Because this certain information can be an eye-opener for us. 1 gram of botulism can kill 10 million people. Purified botulism is 3 million times more potent than our best chemical weapon. And also it is even a missile which is being filled with certain toxins which can give a 16 times, which can be used as a 16 times better weapon than any best chemical weapon that we are having today. They cannot be detected by X-ray, dogs, most devices, and making them easy to transport by this way. Even the infected human beings also can serve as a transport devices, and onset can be from a few hours to a few weeks after exposures. So fighting virus need both skill and management, and obviously it has to be done not only with the infrastructure but also by becoming alert. If we look at the life expectancy, and obviously it is from 1951 to 2020, the crude birth rate, the life expectancy, the infant mortality rate, the preparation of primary health centers, dispensaries or hospitals, beds, doctors, nurses, which is quietly has improved a lot. But is it enough? Because we were fighting against certain disease which is contagious. But obviously before Corona, that is obviously BC, we have seen that in that particular decade, we have seen that it was also the non-communicable disease that started disturbing us. And today, when we talk about the chance or chance of mortality rate, which is more as compared to the people, those who are normal or people with comorbidity. These are nothing but the information that can be an eye opener, that how Kerala is better prepared and Bihar is the least prepared, how West Bengal is averagely prepared to fight with any disease as far as the clinicians and non-clinician ratio per thousand per lakhs are concerned. So which is also a matter of concern, need to be considered. This is a recent information, and also recently I was being informed by a doctor which says this from North India, which said that there are doctors for every 1 lakh Indians are obviously 91. And if we consider the areas where the doctors are even more, they're producing more in numbers, even they are also suffering. So that means we have failed to cope up, or maybe the facilities are skewed. That may be the reason which is really disturbing us. Now, if we consider the non-communicable disease, obviously, we find that they are also having a long-lasting effect. In 2018, 36 million people died, and it was representing 63% of 57 million global death per year. 2030, we have seen that there was 52 millions of lives were being claimed. 51% of urban dwellers were under the effect of this. Is there any cost of poor health in commercial organization? Yes. Royal Caribbean Cruise is an example where we have seen that 1/14 to 1/18 of their annual turnover is being used for this. Community varies is an extra bonus for them as a problem. Health and safety concern is always their priority, and obviously reputation loss of trust is also a matter of concern. And improved territories like, or nations like USA is also are registering different kind of problem that we have seen in last decade. 1/3 of the adults and 1/6 of the children of US are obese. 150 billion annual added cost has been observed by that particular nations. 50% of the US adults have at least one chronic disease, and 7 out of 10 causes, 10 disease which is causing death or causing mortality, is obviously the credit goes to non-communicable disease. The ill health always affects the economic growth in several ways, and which already I have mentioned. Due to time constraint, I am moving very fast, but yet to be noted, which is both a positive and negative trend, that India pacemaker market is also increasing and growing at a rate of 8.9%. Even India's domestic pharmaceutical market turnovers are also increasing by leaps and bounds. I do not have the data of 2019, 20, and 21. That must be also an eye-opener. Look at this in 2013 data, which says that how much US trillion dollar India and China has lost because of this diabetes, cardiovascular disease, chronic respiratory disease, cancer, and so on. And overall loss is also being evidenced. Why we are talking about non-communicable disease? Because they are different. These are obviously a different ball game to handle them. The problem is that they do not have any such facilities to treat them or to prevent them. Only the tertiary care is the problem. Consistent deterioration in service qualities have already been observed, and there is only OPD facilities are accessible to 20% of Indian populations. Insufficient availability to medical and non-medical personnel is also also need to be considered by the government authorities. Problems behind these problems are that there is a prevention needed, awareness needed, because they silently emerge into our life. So people has to be also ready with that. Remember, there is an important VCS cycle as it has been researched by WHO, by certain doctor and certain social scientist, and who has mentioned that populations are often, they are very much vulnerable to non-communicable disease if they are having a nutrition related problems. But when they develop this problem, ultimately this problem persists with them, and they lose enough amount of their wealth that is being saved by them in their previous life. So it leads to penury. So which is nothing but so due to poor health, people develop these, and due to attack of this disease, they lost their everything. So which is also need to be considered. So while designing the health uh, facilities of a nation, and obviously governments have already, it was being first taken care in Banza Luka. It was being taken by certain Russian and USA and Switzerland based Switzerland as a first, with their first initiatives, and where they have taken care, and they have passed a resolution that there will be an integrated approach, because these does not happen because of virus or bacteria. This happens because of poor individual choices, the sedentary lifestyle. So obviously to the upcoming generations, or people who are watching me or hearing this, please stop eating crap, carbonated drink, refined sugar, artificial food, and processed food. At the same time, also it is the government responsibility that how they are going to control this, whether they increasing the price of sugar or putting a ban on tobacco consumptions. So one of the biggest challenge in India was and is DOL, that is diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and lipid increase. So I will recommend that go for Bhangra. Behavior change, at the same time active lifestyle, then happiness, nutrition, glucose control, risk reduction, and obviously to be abstinence from substantial abuses. Okay, and so this is also an eye opener where we can find that through and snake ladder game, even things are being represented which is better acceptable by people. A simple example I would like to highlight here, that consumption of more vegetables obviously will give better protection against development of cholesterol in an individual body, and there are so many other options are available here. Well, I'll be sharing this, and obviously you can find out the real reasons. While we are talking about corona, while we are talking about the other issues, obviously there are certain things which really will also exist among us, and that is we are talking about the sadness, anger, okay, then obviously being guilty, despair, depression, all will stay with us, and obviously we have to learn that how we can solve all this problem by our own. Several references are available. Before just stopping this, I want your attention on this particular video, so which is my second last slide. Let me know if it starts and it is visible before you. It will take little bit time, but this video is an eye opener for all of us. So thanks to Cleveland Clinic, feel what they feel. So it's time for humanity, and obviously we have to help people to regain their life and let them not to be left in an isolated conditions. So that's all for about this particular subject, but also at the same time, I have a duty to perform here that we are from IEM group. Obviously, I am in a leading positions to conduct certain sessions for the students, for as a consultant, also for the practicing managers in different hospitals and in different other industries. So on decision making. So here I'm leaving a particular exercise for you. Look at the chart and say what is the color. Obviously, you must be having certain problem because both are not matching. Why does it happen? Why would the athlete miss her gold when she missed the first hurdle? Why would Sachin Tendulkar go out of form after becoming the world's number one? Why do amateur golfers are distracted by music, but the expert gets better with it? Why drivers slip off if none to talk to them, but learners get disturbed when someone talks to them? Why do you feel bad after forwarding a fake message through WhatsApp? Why does it happen? But why do you do it? The answers are there, and we are conducting certain sessions on it, which is known as sessions on decision making. So obviously at this corona conditions, we are offering certain hub price on that. Obviously, it will for that purpose, I'll talk to you on a personal forum. Thank you for allowing me to talk over here. Thank you for giving me such an opportunity. Thanks to ABS Academy Management, to the faculties, the dean, for giving me a chance. Thank you, sir, from your side now.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so now we can move towards to our question answer round. If anyone is having any question regarding this topic, so they can ask now, but one by one. So if anyone is having any question, they can unmute yourself and they can ask questions to sir. Is anyone having any question?
Okay, let's move ahead. because
Okay.
we are running very short of time. So if anyone having any questions, they may get in touch to sir, or maybe they can write it down to us. We'll connect to sir.
Exactly, sir. So now we are at the end of this event, and I would like to request to our Dean of Health Science, Dr. Bishwajit Mondol, to give vote of thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much. Distinguished guests, honorable dignitaries, delegates, my colleagues, my students, it's my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. And I, on behalf of this committee and on my own behalf, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to all the invited guests, delegates, and participants for their gracious presence today. I'm obliged with the presence of guest Professor Dr. Shomik Gangopadhyay. Thank you for attending this event, and we know how hectic your schedule is, and as such, we are ever more so indebted to you for taking out time for your from your busy schedule. I thank our chairman, respected chairman, Mr. Shomnath Chakraborty, for his encouragement and support. I extend my gratitude towards the vice chairman, Madam Mrs. Malini Chakraborty, and campus director, Mr. Amitav Kumar Gupta, for his support and cooperation. I thank the principal and TICs of Education Polytechnic Management for the guidance, vision, and aid towards this event. I sincerely thank Mr. Rahul Sham and the team of the IT for their support, without which it would not have been possible. I convey thanks to all the distinguished participants who have attended from distant places. This reflects their commitment towards the profession, and even specifically, I was checking the list of the attendance. There was many people who was attended this session, and maybe there were some who didn't able to attend this session because of but this entire lectures of Dr. Gangopadhyay is available on YouTube. Please, you can check there. And also, I'd like to thank Professor Mr. Amitav Ukil. I have seen him. He's also attending this session. Thank you very much, sir. And I convey this my thanks to all the distinguished participants who have attended. And I would also like to thank my students for being patient and for attending this lecture. I also extend my thanks to the entire organizing team for their enormous cooperation in the arrangement of this event. Once again, I want to state that we are all most grateful to all present today. It's been a great pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Sir, last but not the least, I must conclude that we really do expect you for more interesting events among us in our institute, sir. And thank you so much for this particular event. It was really a value-added session, sir, for us. And lastly, I would like to thank to all the participants who have joined here and for your entire participation. Thank you so much. Thanks to all.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you so much.
Stay healthy, stay
Have a nice
safe.
weekend. Thank you.